Happy EEKtober, everybody. We are doing 31 days of scary movies, and today is day 20. I am your host, Melissa Forziat. I'm a keynote speaker. And when I speak, my topic is something I call Take the Doughnut, which is another way to say Carpe Diem. And it comes from this weird thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table, and it became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. Now, from time to time, I'll issue myself a Take the Doughnut challenge. If it's something I want to hold myself accountable to, I'll make it official so that I go for it. And this time I'm opening this challenge up to anybody who wants to join. So here we are for 31 days of scary movies. Of course, today being day 20, we are talking about Downrange. This is a 2017 film. It's a sniper slasher film. It was directed by Ryuhei Kitamura and written by Ryuhei Kitamura and Joey O'Brien. It stars Kelly Conair as Jody, Stephanie Pearson as Karen, Rod Hernandez as Todd, Anthony Curlew as Eric, and for a limited time only, Alexa Yeames as Sarah and Jason Tobias as Jeff, and we're also going to get Ian Boyd as the rifleman, even though we don't really ever recognize his face in it. So a couple of general notes about this film. First of all, you might be thinking, why is this particular film on your list? Because it's not a well-known film, and there are other not well-known films on my list. At least I don't think it's super well-known. But when I got to the end of this film, okay, like, think what you will, I laughed. Look at everything we just went through. Look at what we went through. We thought we had a final girl, and then she kills herself. There are no survivors in this film. It's like, how could this be? Like, you think for sure she's going to get away. She did it. She killed him. She wins the day. And then no survivors. It's films like this, it's endings like this. You need to have endings like this sometimes, right? Because if you always have a final girl, there's never any stakes of a film. She is a final girl for like a second, but then she dies too by her own hand. Oh my God. I don't know. I mean, this is why horror movies don't scare me anymore, because I see stuff like this and my reaction is like, are you kidding me? But it's so important that you get stuff with outcomes that are all over the map, because otherwise there would never be stakes in a horror film if we always had somebody have a happy ending. Granted, even if she lived, it wouldn't be a happy ending because there's a lot of trauma here. So much trauma. But this, I was not expecting, I've got to say. I mean, was it a satisfying ending? I don't even know if it was a satisfying ending. The first time I laughed, the first time I watched this, I was laughing just as the way that I just did. I was like, how could this be? So I didn't want to say why this was on my list beforehand, because I wanted you to experience the reaction of the ending if this was your very first time watching this film. In fact, there are quite a few films on my EEKtober list that are like have a twist of some sort of varying degrees in it, and I would say this is kind of one of them, because I think we're programmed to think that she is going to live. We're programmed to think Jody just got away, and like in another universe, Jody gets away and realizes that there was like a second sniper watching from further back, and like that brings us to Downrange 2. Nope, that's not what happens in this film. This is it. No sequels on the way for this one that I know of. How would you even get there? I mean, oh my goodness. So, okay, there's that, right? I also think it's a really interesting exercise to say, hey, how much can you do with a movie if there's basically no plot? Like, yeah, okay, there are things that happen, but if you said summarize this film, a sniper attacks a group of kids on an open road. Yep, that's the film. Or like a sniper attacks a group of kids on an open road and a couple other groups of cars come in to save them and don't. I mean, like you could summarize this film in 10 seconds or less, or you could watch the film and have the experience of it, which is meant to be suspenseful. And, like one of the things that really strikes me about this film, I think about the movie Hush, which is coming up much later on my EEKtober list. It's my favorite horror movie. It was directed by Mike Flanagan, and that one was written. Mike Flanagan and his wife Kate Siegel, his now wife Kate Siegel, worked on that film together, and they had a specific conceit to that movie, and it's one of those like cabin in the woods type of movies. And something that they talked about was that when they were writing for the film, they found that they needed to have like a really interesting house, and they needed to have a lot of things to do in the house, because when you got the protagonist into an exposed area, the film ended very quickly. Like once you put that person in an exposed area, they were just dead. So they needed to find a lot of things to do with them in unexposed places or like in the house. And it makes it an interesting exercise to do a film like this, where they are, for the most part, in a very exposed area. And like yes, there's cover from a tree stump for one of them and from a car for the others. But how much can you do in that space? So to try to make a whole film out of that is a challenge, I would think, and one that I think they explored it to its fullest. I mean, I feel satisfied with the exercise. So those are sort of the main things that jump out at me. And yeah, you know what? I'll go through the scenes. Let's do that. Let's just see what happens to us. So, we've got some kids driving on a secluded road in a Ford Expedition SUV. What a commercial for that car. A back tire is blown out. And initially, when we see it, it seems like it just blew out. It was shot, which we don't know right away. But it looks like it was blown out. This happens instantly. Like the very opening minutes of the movie, we have this happen. And a lot of horror films will wait longer. They'll give us more time building relationships and stuff. This film is just like, nope, let's put them in a problem right away. So the car is going to swerve around, stops, they all get out. Jody bumped her head a little bit, but she'll be okay. Gonna get a couple of them checking to see if they've got signal on this road, because they're in the middle of nowhere. There's just like open fields and trees and stuff all around them. And Sarah, one of the people we get to know a little bit earlier, to the point where you think that she's going to be in more of the movie, she can't get a signal where she's standing to call roadside assistance. So the guys start changing the tire. They're like, 10 minutes, we got this, we can do this, except none of them really know how to change a tire. We're going to see Sarah getting a photo of everybody. We find out Sarah and Todd are together. Sarah's trying to send the photo, but she's struggling with that. So she's going to walk much further away to a place where she gets a signal. And then Karen also is trying to get a signal. And we're going to find Karen to be the one in the group who has the most knowledge and the most skills in this situation. Sarah walks really far away. She's in like just a very exposed open area, and she does finally send the photo. A couple of them receive it. Karen's going to try to pull up a map. Sarah posts the photo on Socialize so that people know they're still okay for 5 minutes. And then we're going to get a wide shot, and we're going to see just how far away she's standing from the rest of her friends. We're going to see somebody is writing to Sarah. They're like, how'd your passengers turn out? Any weirdos? She's like, no, they're fine, but she can't seem to send that. And I think that's a fun little distraction for us, right? Because if this were any other horror movie, maybe somebody in their group was going to be a problem, but no, it's somebody outside of their group that's a problem. So the other thing that this sort of tells us is that Sarah doesn't already know everybody who's on this road trip. So there are some people who are new to Sarah. Karen is looking at a map. She finds that there's a garage about 20 minutes away. And so they're trying to figure out the plan here, because Jody's been trying to get back for 7 p.m. for her sister's surprise party. That feels pretty important to her. But then they have to go out of their way to get to the garage, to get to the mechanic. So they're trying to figure out what they want to do. Maybe they drop her off and then they swing back. They're not necessarily ready for the fun of their trip to be done just yet. So Sarah is going to notice a memorial on the side of the road, and there's a frame and it's been shot out, or it's just broken. It's out. So she takes a moment. She feels a little unsettled to know that there was somebody who died right here on the road. She walks back to her friends. We're going to get Eric trying to change the tire, but he doesn't even know how to get the jack to lift. Todd's going to take over. Eric's going to like, I've got to go to the bathroom. You guys take over. He hasn't actually accomplished anything. Jeff's going to take over after Todd. There seem to be a couple of sort of love interest groups. Well, first of all, like Todd and Sarah are together. Karen seems to think that Jeff likes Jody, the new guy. Eric kind of seems to have the hots for Karen. You can see him looking at her. Eric is going to go walk off to pee. He's going to keep walking as far as he possibly can. Every time we see him, he's walking further and further away. Jeff finally gets the jack to lift the car. Sarah goes behind the car to sit in the shade. All the girls are now sitting in the shade. Sarah's like, yeah, they said 10 minutes. I figure we've got at least 15 more. Let's just get comfortable. Todd's going to join them as well. Jeff is left alone on the other side of the car, changing the tire. Jeff actually does finally get the tire off. He's going to put a new one on, and the tire starts to roll away. And he notices something about the old tire. It didn't just blow out, like a bullet comes out of it. So he starts looking around a little, like now that he knows something's wrong, he's going to have to be killed right away, you know? Jody is in the middle of telling a very bad joke. Eric is working on tying his shoe. And then all of a sudden we hear a thud where Jeff used to be, and a tool drops. And the tire he was holding starts to roll away. Todd's going to run after to get it. Sarah's going to get up because this is all a little too weird. And then Sarah sees Jeff. Jeff with a gigantic hole in his head. And like his brains are all over the car. I mean, it's brutal, absolutely brutal. He has been shot and his body is still twitching. She is standing in front of the car and is so shocked that she doesn't think to hide herself, which is a really unfortunate instinct because then she's going to be shot. And we're going to hear her hearing Todd's voice. It's very muffled as she sees blood starting to drip down onto her shirt. Todd is rolling the tire back towards her. And Sarah is standing there kind of wavering. Karen and Jody get up because what the hell is going on here? And we're going to see, they can see part of her face and they don't seem to be reacting yet. And as Sarah starts to turn, Karen and Jody lose it. One half of her face, it's fine. The other half, her eye has been shot out. She is going to sort of reach out to Todd with blood running down her face from the one eye. And they're all standing motionless. We're going to get like the longest slow motion. Why is nobody reacting and specifically moving and taking cover right now? And then she's shot again in the face. And that sort of everybody's like fight, flight, or freeze. Everybody was frozen. But when she shot a second time, they're going to be unfrozen. And Sarah and Jeff are now lying on the road, sort of in front of the car. Sarah's not apparently totally dead yet, but she's really close. Jody screams. Karen's looking into the trees, trying to see where this is coming from. She's shouting, "Stay back," to everybody. And Jody and Karen run behind the car. Todd then runs behind the car, but he was further away. He's going to get hit in the back of the shoulder. Eric, who was going to the bathroom and tying his shoe and taking a nice long walk, he is going to hide behind a fallen tree branch in an exposed area. So there's a little bit of cover, but boy, he can't move a muscle. So none of them can see where the shots are coming from. They just, at this point, know there were shots because initially we couldn't hear the shots. And so, like, I guess it would take a second to realize why your friends are collapsing. But someone's still trying to shoot at them. Shots are hitting the front of the car. Bullets are getting almost through their side of the car. They're panicking. We're getting a spinning camera effect. We're all meant to be really disoriented. The music is going to slow down. And then we're going to see the body of Jeff fall over. Jody sees him and she starts to freak out and crawl back. Karen's like, "Get over here." She saves her. Karen She's got her wits about her. She's got skills. She's got know-how. We need her. Jody was bleeding a little bit, but she was just grazed. She's gonna be fine. Karen's like, we cannot move, you see. This man is shooting at us. Stop moving. We're going to see Jeff's blood starting to seep towards Jody, but she's just gonna have to sit there and take it. We hear a choking and gurgling sound. Ooh, Sarah was still a little bit alive. Todd sort of looks around at her and watches as the life drains out. Now she is dead. She's going to die with one eye. Todd grieves this moment. He's banging on the car. He's screaming. Karen and Jody are going to pull him down, try to keep him safe. We're going to get some time passing now. The folks behind the car are sitting quietly. Karen's going to call back to Eric. She says, are you hit? He says, no. Jody is crying. She's like, I'm going to die today. Karen says, wait, okay, so let's think about this. He had a silencer on, and then we started hearing the shots. So he must have, not been able to, the velocity of the bullets wasn't as fast with the silencer on, so he took it off. But even with them at maximum speed, he still can't bust through the door. So we could be okay for a little bit here. We find out she's an army brat. She grew up around guns. She's trying to assess she's like, it's probably an antique gun. He's probably not that close. We might be okay to sit behind here for just a little. Todd's shoulder is numb. She's going to check on it. The slug is still inside. They'll have to deal with that eventually, but he can make a fist. So there's something. Eric can't hear any of this. He's too far away from them. Todd's saying, we can't stay here forever. What are we doing? Karen's like, yeah, but see, cars don't drive this way. That's why he picked this spot. He's going to take his time with this situation. Eric sees a bunch of trees that they can hide behind. He's like, okay, if we all run at once, he can only hit one of us. And they're all like, yeah, but it could be me. They don't want to do that. Karen's like, yeah, he's a good shot. I'm not doing that. So Todd says, well, what if we just get in the car and drive away and we'll stay real low? She's like, yeah, he'll kill the driver. Karen's like, he'll just get your arm. Done. Jody says, well, okay, somebody's going to come. They're going to see the bodies. I don't know if that's really going to help the situation. I think we'll find later it does not. So Karen remembers, look, I got signal further away from the car. Todd's trying to stretch to get the signal on his phone. Jody gives him a selfie stick to get a little more reach. Karen turns on voice activation so that once they get the signal on, they can call 911. And she says, dial 911, and the sniper shoots the phone. Todd's like, give me another phone. Karen's like, that makes no sense. Think about what you're saying, man. It's like, okay. Because Jody has given him another phone, and she's like, can we stop with giving him phones? We might want these phones for some other purpose. This is useless. So he's not going to try again. Todd has another idea. He's like, well, what if we roll the car towards the place where there's signal? Karen's like, well, that was uphill. So that's a challenge. Also, we need the key to be in the ignition so that we can put the car in neutral and roll it uphill if we're going to do that. Just like, how are all these things going to happen? Todd opens up the passenger door. He gets shot at, but he does have keys in his pocket. So he's thinking things through. He's like, okay, I can do this. Even if I'm a little bit like recklessly bold, I can get some of these things done. Karen doesn't want him to get killed, but he's like, okay, how about this? We create a distraction. She's got a sweatshirt with a hood on it. So they're going to put the sweatshirt hood with the hood on a selfie stick. Karen's going to be on one side of the car. She's going to put it out and expose it so that it gets shot at. Jody on the other side of the car is going to grab her phone and she's going to record so they can try to figure out where these shots are coming from. And in the meantime, we're going to get Todd slowly opening the passenger door so that he can get the key in the ignition. So they start enacting the plan. The sweatshirt is getting shot at repeatedly, but Jody is getting some footage and Todd gets the key in the ignition. He shuts the car door again. And the passenger mirror is taken out as well. Eric also recorded all this, so he's got another vantage point and he can see where the shots are coming from. So they're going to look at Jody's footage. We're going to see Eric's footage, and we can see it's all coming. All the shots are coming from one tree, pretty far back across the road. So at least they know where it's coming from, but I don't know if that super helps them in this situation. I guess they think it does. It's nice to have a little more information, I suppose. So we are now going to see the perspective of the shooter. The camera is going to bring us around to that person's angle. And now we see that person camouflaged in a tree, which is very upsetting. He's really thought this through. Todd is going to run around. He's just recklessly at this point. He just needs to do things. He's an action towards a bias towards action, I would say. That's what Todd has. He's going to run around to the front of the car, almost to the front. He's going to grab a toolbox that's there, and he's going to come back. The shooter shoots but misses him. Todd is going to bash the toolbox open. He finds we found a bunch of things, including duct tape, and now the top of it has come loose, the top of the toolbox. So first idea Todd has, he's going to make a shield for his driver's side arm. And he's going to duct tape it to his arm. Because his plan, he's thinking, well, you know, what if we just get in and drive away and I just have a shield on my arm? Okay. Eric's like, wait. You're leaving me here. I can see what you're thinking. I can see it from all the way over here. Todd says, we'll send back help. That's what we'll do. Or come over here, run it in zigzag. That's fine. Eric's just laughing and crying at the same time. It can't be. This can't be the plan. Eric is going to ask for Karen's perspective on that plan. She's like, I think that we should wait him out. Todd says, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. We should go. Jody says, look, if he were going to come down from the tree, he would have done it. That's not a vote in either direction. That's an abstaining vote. Todd is like, look, would we really be able to live knowing we could have done something if we do get away? Like, he could do this to anybody. We had signal 3 feet away from here. Let's do something. Karen grabs a hammer. Jody's going to grab a box cutter from the toolbox, and they have a lighter. So they have some cool stuff here. Cool. I think they have a flashlight as well. Todd is going to get into the car and shield himself. He puts it in neutral, and the sniper shoots at his arm and blasts him all the way back. The car starts to roll, but it rolls the reverse direction from the way they want. It rolls downhill, which makes a ton of sense because Todd has been blasted back, and now only the 2 girls are able to try to push the car forward. So they're losing ground. We're going to get the car running over Jeff's head, which is gruesome. Eventually, Todd's going to join them. He's going to regroup and join them. Jody gets left behind, and she is out in the open, just sitting there in the road. A wheel finally falls off the car, and that is why it ends up stopping where it stops. But for whatever reason, Jody is not being shot at. So Karen is like, oh my God, he's reloading. She shouts reloading as loud as she can. Jody and Eric are both going to run to get cover from the car. Jody makes it. Eric is shot in the ankle. Might have been that the shooter was feigning that they were reloading so that they could get Eric, specifically Eric. He's targeting this guy. Eric is shot in the ankle and falls down in a completely exposed area. Then he's shot in the leg. He wanted to run into the trees. Actually, he was running towards the trees and Jody was running towards the car. But he's not going to be able to make it towards the trees with these injuries. Shots start landing all around him just for fun. This guy's just messing with Eric. And Eric starts to bleed out. Karen's shouting instructions to Eric. They get him to take his belt off and create a tourniquet for his leg so he can stop the bleeding. He passes out. And the sniper watches. We're going to see the sniper watching, and it's all just silent when we see the sniper. So Todd now, he's been shot in the arm. He's been shot in the shoulder. Karen is using a lighter and a hammer to cauterize the wound on his arm. He's really banged up now, but they're in a different position for whatever good that is. Time is going to pass. They're dripping sweat. Todd sees water in the back seat. They open the back door, no gunshots this time. Karen is going to use the hammer to try to reach the water. She grabs it and they start rationing it between themselves. Karen says, okay, so why isn't he shooting at us? Why didn't he just shoot at us? Well, we moved, so maybe his sight line changed. Could be he moved too. That would be scary because now they don't know which tree he's in. And really, at any point, the shooter could come down from the tree and just go behind the car and kill them all. But that's not the move. That's not fun. So Karen is going to throw some water to Eric, and it's going to land about 5 feet away, so he can't quite reach it. He slides himself over. He is going to drink the water, and a hole is going to be shot through his hand that's holding the water. So Karen shouts to him to try to keep him awake. He's got a lot of gunshots in him now, so this is not good for Eric. Karen says, so the sniper is also drinking water. He's regrouping. He's eating some meat. He's getting nourishment. He's ready to wait this out. There are birds starting to eat the bodies, and that's beyond the pale for Todd. He's going to throw rocks at the birds to make them get off Sarah. Karen is going to look at the pictures that Sarah took, or the one picture that Sarah took. Jody is going to look at a photo of her sister. Karen and Jody start to sing happy birthday to her sister in a very morose sort of way. Todd's like, what was the name of the other guy? It was Jeff, right? Yeah, I couldn't remember his name before. I felt bad about it. He was like, he said this was a big vehicle for a couple like me and Sarah. And I said it was to move my band equipment. But what he didn't know was Sarah was pregnant. Yep, we were going to have a kid. We were so excited. We were doing things about it. We were getting everything prepped. And then we did an ultrasound and there wasn't a heartbeat. We don't even know when she lost it. So they've had all this tragedy. It's like there were no symptoms. This baby was here one second, gone the next, just like Sarah. So he's looking around. He says, it's nice out here. Todd's losing it. He's at the end of his rope at this point. Todd stands and he just walks out into the open. He looks at the sniper like, shoot me, just do it. And that's not fun for the sniper. So the sniper's going to let him do his thing. Todd takes off the shirt that was on his arm, binding his wound, and he's going to kneel down next to Sarah. He's going to cover the side of her face that's missing an eye. He sits next to her and holds her hand. He's just going to just sit there. He's not even lying down. He's just fully, completely exposed, and the sniper is letting it happen. He's not shooting at him. Eric's vision starts to blur. He's lying down still in this very exposed area. He hears something moving in the brush behind him, and it's going to be an animal. It's going to be a wolf. He starts pointing to it. He rolls over, and the girls are like shouting to him that there's an animal coming towards him. Todd stands up because who cares? Todd's ready to go, and he's watching what's happening with Eric. The wolf comes up to Eric and they just stare into each other's eyes, and Eric passes out. I assume at some point the wolf will eat Eric, but we don't need to see that. We just need to see what the sniper's up to. So Todd has had enough. He walks toward the sniper. He's like, just do it. Come on, snipe me. And frankly, I don't think the sniper would want to lose control of the situation like that. But either way, there's now a car coming in the road. It's been a while, and this is finally a car that's coming, and Todd sees it. There's a couple driving towards him. Actually, there's 3 people in the car, a couple and their daughter. And he starts waving to them. He wants to get their attention so they don't come closer. And the sniper is going to start shooting at his feet and shooting him back until he's right next to Sarah again. So it's like, no, go back to your place. That was the zone you were allowed to be in. And then the sniper, when he goes back to Sarah, he's just going to kill Todd right then and there. Like, this is it. This is where you die. And at least he's doing him that kindness. He will forever be able to be next to Sarah. So Todd's now laying next to dead Sarah, dying himself or already dead. Karen wants to know what he saw, and then she's like, oh my God, there's a car coming. There's a woman driving, and she sees there's an accident up front. She's trying to alert her husband to that next to her, and then she's shot. And she starts to lose control of the car, and the dad and the daughter, they're screaming. The car loses control. Her blood is spurting everywhere. They're going to crash. They're going to flip over. They're going to roll, and then they're going to slide a bunch. And the daughter is thrown from the car into an exposed area, and there's debris everywhere. And they finally slide to a stop. The car is upside down. So the woman who was shot, who was driving, she's going to walk out because she wants to go to her daughter. And Karen's like, get back, don't do it. She's shot at more times, many more times, as she tries to walk towards her daughter. Her husband comes out and grabs her and brings her back behind the car, but he may or may not know that somebody's shooting at her. I think it's registering, but he's seems to be a little bit confused about the danger that he is in. Karen is trying to talk to the husband. She's like, can you get a phone signal? He's like, can you get my daughter? She's like, no, no, I cannot. Can you get a phone signal? And he's trying to make a call to 911 on Karen's instructions. The sniper can't quite see the survivors here, which is crazy because the dad is standing up so tall. So instead, the sniper shoots the gas tank a bunch of times, and Karen and Jody know exactly what he's trying to do. So Jody tries to tell him, but Karen says, no, we need this call to get through. So the sniper keeps shooting, the gas can is hit, shoots again, the car explodes. I mean, major explosion. The man runs out of the car or from behind the car on fire, just fully on fire. The daughter, she sits up, she's crying, she's shot and killed. That's the end of it for that family. But at the very least, he makes a call to the cops. So that, my friends, is why this family was in this movie. Jody is like, maybe the call got through. Let's hope. She says, it's going to be dark out soon. We can go for the trees. Karen's like, yeah, he probably has night vision. Let's not test it. Jody says, I can't keep waiting. Karen looks around. She says, there's smoke coming out of this car. The smoke will fill the air. It'll make it harder for the sniper to see. That'll help. So she is watching the smoke. The night falls. Time has passed. The smoke is starting to blow through. The sniper is having a bit of a harder time seeing. So they have a plan that they're putting in motion now. Karen's going to stab the tires with a box cutter. Jody's going to do the same. They're cutting rubber out of it. They want to get as much rubber from the tires as possible. And they also want that side of the car to be lower. Karen's going to open the door. She's going to go to the back seat. She's going to stab at it so that the foam is starting to come out. They're going to put the rubber from the tires in there as well. And then they're going to, then Jody's like, oh my God, there are water bottles in the back. We had a cooler. So they're going to drink some water. And they're realizing like this guy, he's been wearing down the walls the whole time. That's not good, but we'll save that for later. Jody types a message to her family onto her phone. Karen lights the back seat on fire, and now the car is just consumed by fire. They've covered their mouths because the rubber from the tires is going to be toxic, but it's also going to create a lot of darker smoke. And so the sniper really can't see, and he's shooting a lot, and the walls of the car are wearing down a bunch, and they're like, okay, we're going to eventually have to run. A police car drives up. Thank goodness that family came through. The call did get through. So the police know that there's somebody shooting because they've been hearing all this happen. And they're like, oh my God, do you think the sniper saw us? The answer is yes, for sure. So they're trying to stay back a little bit. There's a couple cops in the back with rifles of their own, couple cops in the front. There's a shooter at an elevated position, and one of the cops calls in for extra support. There are so they're in position. They're like ready to get at the sniper if they can. And the sniper starts shooting at the cops, and the car starts to roll, starts to lose control a bit because the person who was driving it has been shot now. Jody and Karen start running together. This is a good distraction. Karen's going to run into the smoke. She's got the cover of smoke, but when she gets past the smoke, she's shot and killed before she gets to the tree line. Jody sees all this. That's not good. The police car is driving out of control at this point. It crashes into the family's car, but Jody makes it, although she's going to run to the cop car for cover there. So a couple of them are totally okay. One of them super injured. And we're going to get some gunfight, some crossfire going on here. The sniper gets the shooter cop, then he gets the other cop, and now it's just Jody. Jody is going to get brave. She's had enough of this nonsense. There's like, this is foretelling of the future that people who are coming to help are still not able to help. So she is going to get into the cop car. She's just going to drive straight for the sniper. He's going to shoot her in the shoulder. She's going to keep driving. She's like, this is how I'm going out if I'm going out. She drives into the tree as hard as she can and knocks the sniper out of it, who was so prepared to be there all night. He was prepared to sleep it off if he had to. He tied himself into the tree so that he could sleep there. And so he's hanging down from the tree now. He cuts himself loose with his serrated knife. And she's grabbing his gun because his gun fell down. She doesn't actually know how to shoot it, how to hold it, how to load it, none of that. So she's trying to sort it out. He has cut himself down. He's standing on the cop car. He jumps down from that. He's got his knife. She's now holding him at gunpoint. And he starts to walk towards her. She shoots him 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Each time he gets up and he keeps walking towards her. But after the 4th time, he falls to the ground. And she's going to approach him. He's gripping his knife just a little bit. She kicks it away. She's disarmed this man. He's spitting up blood. She points the gun at his face. She jams the gun. She can't get the gun. Okay, she can't, whatever was making it shoot before is not doing it now. Okay, I'll just beat him. She beats him a bunch of times with the gun. She beats him senseless. Probably beats him to death at this point. And then she looks at the gun and she sees the notches for all the people he's killed. Dozens, notches on both sides. She's so angry about it. She thinks about all her friends and some of the people she didn't know who were in the car who have been added to those notches. And she gets so angry, she's going to beat him one more time just for spite. And she picks up the gun and she beats him and she shoots herself in the neck. We almost had this one, Jody. You had a car that works and nobody pursuing you. You shot yourself. Blood starts pouring out of her neck. She falls back. She's spitting blood. She can't even yell for help because she shot herself in the neck. But she's sort of like laughing about the craziness of the situation. And like, you know, she can't call out any louder than that. And that's it. That's the movie. I couldn't believe it. The first time I saw it, I was like, you did what now? She was almost out of this situation. She did all the hard parts, so many hard parts. And she had more than most people have. She had a car to get away as far away from all of this. Plus, the cops had radioed in for more support, you know, like, I mean, I guess it's possible that they'll come in and find her still sort of alive. But I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I think she dies here. Maybe you feel differently. Tell me if you think there's a happy ending to be found here. Because I think if there were, we would have seen the cops pulling up already in the second group. I think they're just too far away to get to her quickly enough to find her alive. I can't believe this film. And it's like, you know, you set this up and you put these people in an exposed area and they've got like 2 things for cover that they can reach, a tree branch and one car. And you just think, how do you make a whole movie from this? And then they managed to do it, you know, and they managed to find a bunch of different ways to like create opportunity for these people. And thanks to Karen, they were able to figure out what to do with those things. So that's good. You need that character here. But my goodness, you know, to get all the way to this point and to have no survivors is just absolutely brutal. And at least, you know, I guess the happiness of it all is like this guy was stopped, so he won't be able to do this anymore. And Jody was quite heroic, and she was prepared for her life to end when she drove the car into the tree. It's just, you know, she got a little too cocky at the end. That's what happened. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, that is what I thought about this film, Downrange. What did you think about Downrange? Let me know in the comments. I'm prepared for just about anything here. Look, like is it a classic horror movie? It's not, but it's really interesting and mildly entertaining, and gave me a good laugh at the end. Okay, suspenseful down the middle and a good laugh at the end. That's what I thought. But anyway, I'd love your feedback in the comments. Also, I need your help because my scary meter is busted. I've watched so many horror movies that they don't scare me anymore. I'm desensitized to them. So that's where you come in, right? Like we need to know how scary these films are to make recommendations, or at least I do. So take out your scary meter and rate this film from 1 to 10 in terms of how scary it is to you. 1 being it's not scary, 10 being it's the scariest movie ever, and anywhere in between. And let's see where we land with this one. I'm pretty curious about this one because it is very suspenseful. But also not a lot is happening. So I don't know. Where does it land for you? Next time, the movie that we're going to cover is for day 21. It's called Malignant. It's a 2021 film. One of the most recent on the EEKtober list. It's a supernatural slasher film. It's a giallo film, but it's not your classic giallo. It's sort of a modern day giallo film. And so it might be an interesting one to pair with something that is a more classic giallo film, if that's something you want to learn more about, to sort of see what that genre is or that subgenre is. But yeah, Malignant, it's a really fun one. I think I also, I don't know how much I want to say about it here, but I have lots of reasons why I included that one on the list. So I can't wait to talk about that one. And I hope you're going to join me to talk about Malignant. And in the meantime, happy EEKtober, everybody. Get spooky, get donuts.